I'm Brian.
And I am Reggie.
And this is R&B Talks. Again. We just keep coming back.
Why?
Because we like to. Because we like to hear ourselves talk, Reggie. I like to give a shout out to Denny. I don't know who Denny is, but Denny hollered at me and about my abbreviation, or about my abbreviation, about my enunciation of a word, and he was correct. I did V instead of B. I think it was just because I was being lazy. I said, avarice behavior, and it's avarice behavior, and the B, I got it mixed up. I was probably tired, but I appreciate Denny calling me out so I didn't sloppy say that word a bunch of times. So shout out, Denny. You're a good man. Thank you for having my back. I appreciate you.
I feel inspired by that story.
I'm telling you, man.
It was riveting.
I'm telling you, it was riveting.
Or I should say riveting.
But he cared. All right, I'm never gonna live that one down. All right, but shout out to you, Denny, for hooking brother up and letting me know that you were listening. I appreciate that. Anyway, Reg, your week.
It's a good week, man.
Well, you know,
it's a week. Just a week.
Mine was rough, but it's okay.
Well, every week's rough now.
Because we're old.
Well, I mean, it's like, I got all my tree cleared up and cleaned up, and my back does not hurt, does not stop hurting, I should say.
Well, that's okay.
It's just,
it's talking to you. It's telling you that you're doing a good job.
Oh, it's telling me all right. So
it's singing the song. A good job to you.
Oh yeah, he's definitely like got a gravelly voice and it's very loud.
He's giving you the Teddy Pendergrass.
Give me something, man. It's, but yeah, it's good, dude. I mean, doing stuff. I had my girls. So on yesterday, Juneteenth, right?
Yeah.
I was off.
Juneteenth. Sorry.
We'll talk about that in a minute. So I got the girls out. I'm like, hey, you girls been in here watching freaking cartoons and crap all day. Let's go outside. You can help me out. And so all I was having to do is pick up the little sticks around where the tree was down so they could just put it in a pile, right? Mm-hmm. Just 7-8-year-old girls, man, just trying to do stuff. And they're just, Daddy is so hot. It is hard. Oh my God. And it was funny. So just, girls, I don't want to hear it. Pick it up, And then they started lifting everything. They wanted to lift up some little bit bigger stuff. And I'm like, okay, but don't lift with your back. You got to, I showed them how to do it. And then it's had to go on the whole thing about me showing them how to lift things and all this kind of stuff. And
well, of course,
what's going to happen. And they got scratched up a little bit because the tree, this one little limb moved the wrong way when they lifted it. And I'm like, oh, honey, you got to look at how it's shaped. Is it going to go? Which way is it going to go? And you want to pick it, Anyway, it was just turned into like, instead of getting anything really done, it was I guess this is an instruction time for daddy and daughters,
Nice.
But it was fun.
It had to be fun, man. I have teenagers.
And frustrating.
So their response to me is, everything I do. Hey, can you do, okay. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't care what noise you make as long as you do it. It's okay. My oldest is now trying to get an actual job, which we had a little bit of a disagreement yesterday. He had turned in an application the day before, and I told him after he turned in the application, he got there later in the evening, turned in the application. Manager wasn't there. I said, tomorrow you're off school all day, so you need to call the manager. You need to call the place and talk to the manager. Let him know you're interested, right? Show some gusto, right? I get home. He's on the couch, both feet kicked up on the ottoman. My first question is, did you call the manager? Well, I was thinking I'd let it marinate for a day. What? Okay. So, and then I realized he's 16 years old. I'm a year off of 50. He's 16 years old. There's 35 years experience between the two of us, right? So I'm just trying to be okay. And this new generation is so much different than we were. Like I was on the ball. I was hyper motivated. I wanted to have money. I wanted to have a job. I tell this story all the time to my kids, but it's the truth. The first job I ever got that was a paycheck job, other than, working for my grandfather and mowing yards and stuff. it was a grocery store job. There was the produce department at this grocery store, and they were hiring for the produce trucks coming in. And I harangued this guy for a month. I called him every day. Have you filled that position yet? Have you filled that position yet? And finally, like on day 30, he's like, if you will shut up and not call me again, I will hire you. And that's how I got the job. And then I was like, I got a job, right? But to me, it showed that I was motivated and interested in having the job. And I worked there for like 3 years. Like it was a really, really good experience.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I wasn't, I mean, look, I think there's a lot that has changed, but there's a lot that isn't, I mean, like when you're 15, 16 years old, like you don't know anything. You think you know everything, but you don't. And you try to like, it's things are, there's no priorities really at that age. You got school and all this kind of stuff you're doing, but really there's not a lot of major life decisions going on,
Well, and I know at this point, I mean, band camp's coming up, all the things are happening. And like Red Foreman said in that 70s show, that's not a real job. That's a piddly job. But even if he I just wanted to take a step, show a little concern and motivation, right? So,
right.
But that's, it is what it is, right? Like we'll, just keep trying. If that doesn't pan out, apply somewhere else and apply somewhere else and apply
somewhere else. That's how it is.
Dude, you just got to keep pounding away until you get something. But anyway.
Yep. Juneteenth is interesting, man. It's one of those holidays. It's like this new holiday thing. And I have no issue like celebrating something like slavery ending. It's the whole idea behind it though that it just baffles me though. What?
What do you mean by the whole idea behind it?
Like so you're celebrating the reason the holiday is because some black folk in Texas didn't know slavery had ended and they found out and they threw a party.
Okay. To me, this is walking the line between my man Morgan Freeman. Man, I love Morgan Freeman. I don't really think we need to be celebrating anything about slavery, whether it ended, whether it began, whether it was going on. I believe that this is another way for us to remain tied to a dead cause, right? Like this is that thing where, look, man, everybody has culture, right? There's white culture, black culture, Hispanic culture, but the truth of the matter is we're far beyond that. It's a new world. Let's stop calling each other white men, black men, and Hispanic men and just call each other men. I mean, I've moved into a point in my life where I don't care what you are. If you're a good person, we're good. If you're a bad person, we're not. Don't matter what color you are.
Yeah.
And trust me, most of the bad people I know are white people.
But it's not, I mean, that's what I mean. Like we talked about before with like Father's Day and stuff. Like I really don't even care about, like if you're not honoring your father already, you're doing it wrong. Like, if you're not celebrating your dad, you're doing it wrong.
Honor thy father and mother.
If you're not honoring your mom, then you're doing it wrong. If she doesn't know that and you have to have a day in order to okay, you're doing it wrong.
Well, and if you go 364 days ignoring the situation and think you're going to fix it all in a day, then you're just
no. I
silly.
mean, like, look, I mean, holidays are kind of cool because you get like their actual points of the year that you can look up to and stuff. So there's a societal positive influence by having certain holidays.
Yeah,
but it gets a little silly. And like, when you get like Veterans Day and Memorial Day and Labor Day and all those days, not that I'm saying you shouldn't have any of those as a holiday, but like what's stopping like every day of the freaking year to be a holiday and then all of a sudden when you work? Well, we don't.
The biggest problem I have with most holidays now is they're commercialized.
Well, that's true. And they have been like Valentine's Day.
This Valentine's Day.
That's a big one.
Even quote unquote Pride Month has become commercialized. Stores are full of colorful Pride Months. Dude, just get over yourself.
Yeah. I don't
look, I get your birthday. I get Christmas. I even get Thanksgiving and I get 4th of July, right? I get those 4 holidays. Every other holiday, I just am not 100% sure is necessary. St. Patrick's Day, not necessary. Valentine's Day, not necessary. If your wife doesn't know you love her and you're just going to take one day of the year to be close to her, then you need to figure that out because you're screwing something up, right? If you're Memorial Day, I get Memorial Day, but isn't kind of 4th of July Memorial Day? Don't you kind of?
No, it's different. You're
Celebrating the country. I get it, but you know, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with having a holiday, but you know, we're getting to the point where we just keep coming up with them. Right?
Well, I know, but it's just in particular with Juneteenth, it's like to me, it just seems like a holiday that doesn't need to exist, and it's not because I mean, if you're not celebrating the end of slavery all the time anyway, you're not. But you don't want to dwell on it or live in it. You want to be acknowledged. You want to acknowledge history, yes, but you're not living in it. You know what I mean?
But that's just it. It's history.
Yeah.
Like it's not, it doesn't help you now to celebrate that. You could be taking that time to, you know, better your situation, figure out something else to do, restart a plan, get into something. And, you know, I think right now we are in this identity society that everyone needs an identity.
Well, everyone has an identity, but it's corrupted.
Well, but they want a special identity.
Well, they want one that they create.
They want a snowflake identity. Well, I'm sorry, but, you know, and I tell my kids this all the time, and I'm probably going to get some grief for this, but I'm like, you're not special. You're not a snowflake. You're only as good as your best day, and you better hope that you've got something better in you if you want your life to get better. Okay. You've got to always be moving forward. I love you. You're my sons. I'll take care of you. I'll always be there for you. I want to be a good father to you, but the best thing I can teach you in life is that you are only as good as you perform to be. And if you perform poorly, then you're gonna harvest poorly.
Yeah.
So don't rest on your laurels. Don't take mama calling you a pretty special baby and base your whole life on that, because you're going to fail, and you're not just going to fail, but you're going to fail and you're going to resent everyone around you. Because once you really figure out the truth, it's going to be a lot harder at that point. So
speaking of Pride Month, I posted on my social media accounts, which I hardly ever do, the S-3589 preventing private Paramilitary Activity Act of 2024 as looky here. Here's some Marxism and socialism coming right at you.
Yes, it is.
And one of the responses was, well, maybe it's some stuff like this, and it pointed to an article about a militia group that had protested a pride parade during Pride Month. So, and of course, all the January 6th stuff always comes up when you start talking about paramilitary groups and all this kind of stuff. So let me just say what the bill really, and I'll post the link to it and you can read it. But it's from what I gather, pretty much outlaws militias.
Well, you're right. Okay, so here's a breakdown for you. This legislation would prohibit publicly patrolling, drilling, or engaging in harmful or deadly paramilitary activities, interfering with or interrupting government proceedings, interfering with someone else exercising their constitutional rights, falsely assuming the role of law enforcement, and training to engage in such behavior. The lawmakers proposed different tiers of criminal penalties depending on the result in injury or property damage or bodily harm. Okay. Well, isn't that illegal anyway now to hurt people?
That's not all of it though. It's like pretty much where it's pretty much it makes it almost, and look, the verbiage is
vague for a reason.
Yeah. You could almost tie this to like even dissent, like against the government would be illegal. Martial arts classes could be technically illegal under something like this.
Yes.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of things that this points to, but it's on purpose. This is what I think is hilarious here, that people aren't understanding this. Like, there's a reason why we have militias. There's a reason why they exist. It's not because they're just organizations that are stuck on themselves and want that. There's a purpose behind fighting against tyranny and keeping the government in check. You need a well-armed militia in order to be able to be somewhat of a threat to the government that has power over you. Mm-hmm. This is also why I'm staunchly like, I don't really care what weapon it is. It does. Everybody needs it. But anyway, so let me rope this back into like where this came from, January 6th kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, but I want to really, and I'm not going to dig up articles and stuff. I don't have time to go dig up the many multitude of articles or references or whatever. But I'll tell you this: January 6th was not an insurrectionist movement. It was not any of that stuff. It was planned. It was orchestrated, and it wasn't orchestrated necessarily by the people on the right, but it was all kinds of things were done on that day to allow this stuff to happen on purpose.
Yes, including the denial of a request for military aid by our outgoing president. He had requested military aid for Washington and was denied by our lovely government. It's part of this whole, I call it the 4-year sham part of this whole 4-year sham of jamming Marxism down our throats, prying away rights and privileges, and using falsehoods, lies, and inaccurate descriptions of events to sway public opinion. That's all January 6th was a giant. It was a giant marketing event for the far left.
They wanted to create an event that illustrated how dangerous that kind of stuff is. Yeah, they wanted to criminalize and like really just make those people who would do such a thing into evil, so that they had a platform to raise that up as an issue.
Well, and if you look at it now, I mean, the bombshell of all this is we now understand why they made such a big deal out of it, because they want to outlaw it.
Yes.
It's now we're going to vilify it, and then we're going to make everybody believe something that didn't actually happen. And I think what bothers me was, the dramatic descriptions by people who weren't really harmed by it about how horrible it was. And don't get me wrong, there were people that you don't go storming into the Capitol with your Viking helmet on and
because they were ordered.
Yeah.
Ordered to let them in.
Yeah. Yeah. You just don't do that. I mean,
come on now.
Watch Scooby-Doo, man. Recognize the trap. Anyway.
But no, this whole act, this S-3589 is really, this is anti-constitution. This is in a direct conflict with the Second Amendment.
This is an attempt to change the Constitution.
Yes.
It is. It's an attempt to
reclassify. Yeah. And redefine some terms and stuff to make it illegal, even though the Constitution specifically calls it out.
And no shocker,
as a right.
Ed Markey is the senator who introduced it. Ed is a very, very liberal Democrat.
Yeah,
but that has served 20 terms in Congress, which that's a whole different conversation to have about term limits. But so no, none of this is. Here's the thing that really concerns me about this, and as you and I texted back and forth today, and I started to look into this really deeply. Dude, just be brazen. Call it what you want it to be. A way to control what we do.
They're not going to do that.
But they're not going to do that. They're going to be cowards, and they're going to hide behind all these words, and they're smoke and mirrors, and just man up. Just put your big girl pants on, and get out in front of everybody and say, hey, we don't want you to have your rights. We want to change your rights and take away rights. I would at least respect you on a level of being honest right? But this is just another level of trying to paint dishonesty as a moral victory.
You will own nothing and be happy, Brian.
Yeah. When I'm dead and in the ground, maybe.
The World Economic Forum, everybody keeps, that's, man, whatever. Okay.
But anyway, I can just say this. Now, so nobody panics. Let's be honest about where it's at. It's only been introduced. It's been read twice, introduced to the judiciary, which means that it hasn't gone out to vote yet. It's probably not going to make it. But this is just the reason I feel like we should bring this up is it's just a great example of being aware of what's going on behind the scenes to kind of limit your ability to live free.
Well, and this is so part of this is that most people will never see this kind of these kind of bills come up all the time.
They do.
And it's public accessible. It's not like they hide any of this stuff. They just assume the public isn't going to look.
Well, the public's not interested. We have a lot of sheeple, they said it must be true.
Yeah.
So
but I mean, this is an
know?
Example of kind of the stuff that gets, it's thrown against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time doesn't go anywhere.
But the problem is from time to time,
Yep.
one sticks.
Yep. So this is really kind of I guess us saying to anybody who watches this, like, you kind of want to pay a little bit of attention.
Yeah. Now, let me be clear. I made a very bold move about 2 weeks ago. I removed all news feeds from my existence.
Yeah, I don't either.
If I need news, I have certain sites that I will go to. Outside of that, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, I get nothing from them because there's not one of them that's honest.
No, I don't. I block them all.
So, I mean, I don't even block them. I just deleted them off my phone. There's no apps. There's no feeds. There's no alerts. And I tell you what, my life is better.
Yeah,
because Fox News and MSNBC love to blow your phone up with just the biggest garbage alerts that are it's just bait and switch, man.
Oh yeah, all the time.
They throw up these headlines that make it sound like the world's coming to an end, and it's about
Well, all of it's sensationalism,
yeah.
Dude. It doesn't matter what media outlet anymore. Everything is. Even like YouTube videos or whatever are just reels on freaking Instagram. They're all sensationalized and put to catch clicks and everything else. I mean, it's just kind of silly, dude. Another silly thing, the Danish men's football team has decided to take a pay cut.
All right, you got to tell this story again. This was great. Tell me this story again, Reggie.
I was so this brought about me. Like we've already touched a little bit about the gender pay gap thing when we talked about roles and stuff with the being male and female and the household and the head of the household and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't even remember where I first saw this really, but this is really the thing. Like the Danish men's football team has they wanted to take a pay cut to be the same as the women's team, so they could they want to be they realized they were getting they want everybody to get paid the same.
Want everybody to have the same paycheck. Very valiant.
So a little. Let me find the where was it? There's some it's an extraordinary step to help improve the conditions of the women's national teams. So instead of looking for better conditions for themselves, the players thought about supporting the women's team. And of course, when they presented this, they presented the plan to the negotiations team, which is like their owners and stuff. The owners were very happy.
Well, of course they were. They were going to make more money. Oh, you want to take a pay cut? Okay.
Okay. Here's the thing. This illustrates the lunacy of like the whole like argument about the sports teams getting paid different. Which, if they were bringing in the exact same revenue, garnering the same, I would say the same like
same advertising dollars, same
merchandise sales,
sponsors,
all that stuff.
Okay.
Then yeah, but it's your wage is like when you go work at a place, okay, it's really not based. Well, it's loosely based on the market of what that occupation is.
Agreed.
But it's also based on the revenue of the company that is doing things. If the revenue of the company is not doing very well, you don't get raises, you don't get a lot of things, you don't get perks and all this stuff. They take things away in order for them to make their bottom line and do everything the way they need to do. It's a business. That's what business does. If you have a business, we have one business that does the same thing as another. One makes, I forgot how many times more, but a lot more than the other one. Then they're not going to get paid the same. They're not going to, I guess it's like you want to say reward.
Well, yeah, but here's the problem too. There's this fallacy that exists, right? Let's take my favorite example, and I'm probably sound like a broken record, is the WNBA. You constantly hear WNBA players screaming, well, we want to get paid the same as the NBA. All right, so you don't sell out your games. It's not exciting. There's no dunks. There's no power moves. Nobody's taking the 3-step drop and then just trying to tear the rim off. It's exciting to watch a pro NBA game. Even if you're not a basketball fan, you can understand why it would be a little more exciting. They have just some other side notes. They don't bring in even a third of the revenue dollars that the NBA does, much less actually. They don't have a third of the merchandise sales. And yet they make women in the WNBA make a higher percentage of profit than men do percentage of profit in the NBA. Mm-hmm. So, okay.
Same thing with the soccer.
Yeah. So the problem being, you live in this fantasy world where there's a Dollar Tree out back and you just shake the Dollar Tree and money falls out. No. You don't. They're just the same way as there's tiers of companies. There's Microsoft, there's Apple, there's, Go to Music, there's Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, SoundCloud.
You have Joe's Music Mart.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're different tiers. Wherever you land, that's the tier you're in. You don't get to draw more because you wish you were in that tier. It goes along to this fallacy of 50-50, right? This fallacy of 50-50. It goes in these kind of situations. It even goes into marriages and relationships. There is no 50-50 marriage.
There's never 50-50.
There's never been one. There'll never be one. That's a total falsehood. Sometimes I bring 10, my wife brings 90. Sometimes I bring 90, my wife brings 10. Sometimes my wife brings 0 and I bring 100. Sometimes she brings 100 and I bring 0. If you're looking, 50-50 is transactional. And you can't look at it as just a transaction because there's so many things going on within these sports that are going to vary the amount of money that comes in and out the door. Now, do I think that the Danish dudes did a good thing? No, probably not. Because they just put gas on a fire that's just always going to burn, right? I get that you want the ladies to make as much. I get that. Good on you guys for being valiant and stepping out there, but you didn't really help anything. You've really taken an age-old, just kind of pointless argument and poured a little bit more gas on it, right?
Well, I think you said it, falsehood.
Yeah, it's all falsehood, man.
But this is, for me, this screams the whole false ideology of equality. Equality doesn't exist in nature.
It doesn't. Never has.
It will never. We can be as civilized as we want, but that doesn't mean that everybody is equal. No. So people are better at one thing than another. It's competitive. It's life. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's the part of it that you
know. It's insane though. But the gender pay gap to me is like the wrong question.
Yeah,
it's the freaking totally wrong thing to even be discussing. It's like, well, are women's lives more fulfilling today than they were 50 years ago? Are men's lives better or more fulfilling or whatever than they were?
And I think
right?
Furthermore, the question is, are you really concerned about a pay gap or have you been listening to the wrong things?
I know that in a lot of occupations, especially in IT, women get paid the same in a lot of, I guess, when you're starting lower and up a little bit. When you get up to the upper realm of things, I don't know personally.
Well, let's
okay.
Okay. Let me.
I know.
I've actually studied this, so let me lay it on you.
Well, I'm going by personal experience.
When you go, okay, so I hate this term, but I'm going to use it because it's the only one that I can really match up. When you go alpha male to alpha female, as far as personality goes, there is almost zero pay difference between the two.
Well, actually, the woman usually gets paid more.
And the reason for that is there's a couple of factors. When you have women who are highly motivated, they're not family oriented, they're very career driven, they actually negotiate salaries 2 to 3 times more than men do. There's this myth of, well, women are just not giving. No, there's plenty of uber successful women out there who have worked themselves into being successful. Now they've sacrificed family, relationships and all that because they chose to go down that road. But naturally, a larger percent of women are more emotional creatures. So they choose to have families and children. So they choose not to take promotions because they need to. My wife is a great example. My wife has valiantly, and I applaud her for this. I valiantly stated that until our kids are grown and on their own, that she's going to stay in the position that she's in because it affords her the time to raise the kids and spend time with the kids and be there for the kids, right? My wife has shown where her priorities are. And in a lot of circles, including some Christian circles, and I think these people will know who they are if they know who I am, she has been shamed for not quitting her job and just staying at home and doing what she does. Not that that's a bad thing, but that just wasn't my wife's choice, right? She wanted to have something. She went to school, got a degree. She wanted to do something with her degree, so she's doing what she can now while she's raising our kids. And she's very successful, very good at it, very well balanced.
Kids are older now too. I mean,
yeah, and the kids are older, but she's still, Caleb's junior in high school now, right? Dylan's an 8th grader. She still wants to be there for the big events in their life. I want to be there for the big events in her life. So her and I have made choices not to pursue certain things until the kids are gone, right?
Right. And I mean, look, how do I put this? Everybody's family dynamic is going to be a little different.
That's right.
I mean, but you still have I think in a Christian home, you still have the defined roles of who's the head of the household, who's not.
Well, yeah, of course. But
let me say this, that going back to what you were saying about uber successful women and stuff, you're right. And this what I was getting to is because I live in corporate world. So my personal experience is that I don't have anybody. Matter of fact, I've had situations where I thought it wasn't like intentional wage differences that were there, but it was because they were hired in at this time at this, and this one was hired in at this time at this, doing kind of the same thing, and that one was paid less than the other.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have mattered what gender they were. I thought that, okay, that's kind of a problem, and I worked to fix it. And it didn't matter what gender it was. Okay, this is what I get at. I think most people are like this. Look, you do the same job function as that. It's the same revenue bucket as that. You same group. Yeah, you need to, it's okay.
We need to bump them up a little bit.
Maybe,
right?
Yeah, okay. And it's different too when you get to like, okay, well, this has in the technology world, like, okay, you got certifications and you got all this other stuff that come into their experience with this and this and this. That all adds up to what they get paid. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is like where I'm at, and I'm at this like middle management level, right? So what I deal with, there's no inequality that I've come across or whatever, mm-hmm. Or if I have, it's just been fixed, and it wasn't not intentional or anything. Wasn't biased. That wasn't there either. What I find interesting though is that whenever these discussions are being had, they don't really talk about the lower level of entry in the professional life. They're not talking about that. They're talking about the C-suite. They're talking about the people on the boards and stuff.
Well, and what I also find interesting is they're not talking about the guy working on an oil rig making $1,000 a day doing what is some of the most intensive physical labor possible, I don't see them lining up for that job, right?
Bricklayers.
Like you can do, okay, so you can, some of the highest paid people in America per capita are tradesmen. Are you lining up to be a plumber? Are you lining up to be an electrician? Are you lining up to be a brick? Are you lining up to be a masonry? What are you lining up to be? I mean, if you're just standing at the C-suite at Apple and thinking they're just going to whip you in the door and make you president, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to get a whole lot of grief for this. You're probably stupid a little.
You are stupid a little.
Because
I'm not doing that.
I'm not going to go there and get that. If I go kick down the door at Apple, they're going to put the same handcuffs on me that they put on you when they drag me out and throw me in the street.
No, that's what I mean. I know. Like my whole family comes from labor intensive work.
Exactly, like mine as well.
All my descendants are very much either farmers or tradesmen of some sort, right? And no. There's not one of their wives or anything would have said, yeah, I want to do that job. None of them said that, right? I mean, none of them did. They know. Now, some of them have gone off, like, did their own thing. I'm not saying that. It's not like none of them they worked, but it's not this. You're talking about the C-suite is one of those where it's like that's like an apex of like these hyper competitive, hyper motivated,
hyper focused.
Yeah, people.
And a lot of those people don't have a lot of social skills because they haven't learned or adapted any of that. Their sole focus in life has been money.
Well, been their career.
Yeah. Elon Musk would be one of them. I actually have read a lot about Elon Musk and have a lot of respect for his work ethic, but the guy's not exactly a social, no,
he's got his thing.
He's got his thing, right? And you're not going to get that unless you are that.
That's what I mean. Like even I've known plenty of CEOs, CTOs, CIOs, all that kind of stuff, and known them well. And yeah, they're goofy, man. I mean, really. And it's not that there's none of them really have. Well, okay, there have been a couple I met that I just said, no, you are a total turd. But I mean, most of them are just different. Yeah, so that's the thing that most of these people come up with that are just different. But I just found it. It's a continual thing I see from all over the place about pay equality and all this. It's like it's always this freaking equality word.
Yeah,
like get it out of here. That is not true. That does not. That'll never exist.
And here's the thing: a lot of it is being happy with who you are, where you are, right? I hear so many people. One of my favorite things I hear is, "Well, I will not date a man that makes less than six figures."
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, well, that's 1% of the world makes six figures.
It's a little higher now, I think, but
1%, maybe 2% of the world. So what you're doing is you're eliminating 98% of the men in the world. And you're hoping that all of the other billions and billions of women are just going to stop hunting. That just shows how delusional you are, right? And it just shows, I mean, okay, and I'm going to go back to something we talked about before. I blame almost all of this on first wave, second wave, third wave, and fourth wave feminism. They're convincing women that being a woman in this world, a natural woman in this world, is a terrible thing to be. Well, and that is so sad.
It really makes me mad when they try to say, well, why don't you have a job? Why don't you do this? And it's talking about a homemaker kind of person. What? Who care? Why do you care?
Why do you care at all what I do? Right? It's kind of like goes back to that influencer that we were talking about who got up at that convention and started ripping everybody. Nobody cares who you are, man. In 10 years, you're going to be no one. You're going to be on the backside. You're going to be at the gym, pumping up your muscles, doing your thing, and you're going to be a forgotten instance because the average influencer never lasts past 3 years. So you got about a 3, maybe 5, 6. There's a couple of them out there that have gotten 5, 6, 7, 8 years out of it, but eventually that ends. So the road you lay now is the rough gravel you got to lay on later.
Well, it's just like, I mean, I don't understand. Well, I do understand. It's like, people just insecure, man. I mean, they're trying to figure out who they are and what they want to do. And they're just so insecure about what that is, man. It's just, that's what it all kind of, some of it boils down to.
As a blue collar worker, and that's what I am now. I line up next to some of the toughest women you'll meet. And I don't think about the fact that they're women. They're just in there working, dude. But I will tell you that is a very small percentage.
Sure.
And that is that, and I hate that for people, because that seems to, when you say something like that seems to fuel some kind of fire, right? Oh, there must be being discriminated against. No, there's just not a whole lot of women lining up and applying to do hard labor jobs.
No. It
just doesn't exist, right? So, and I'll tell you what, I watched a video the other day. There's this video on YouTube, and I encourage you to watch it. And it's called A Day in the Life of an Oil Rig Worker. And this guy, he's 25, 26 years old. He's worked on an oil rig for 4 years. He lives on the rig most times. He very rarely gets to go home. He sleeps on the rig, I think 7 or 8 months out of the year. He wakes up and does some of the most, to call it labor intensive is almost insulting it. It is unbelievable the things that he does 6 days a week. He gets 1 day off. And imagine on your day off, you don't get to go out and hang out with your friends. You get to stay on the rig. If you're out on the job, you're staying on the rig. And yeah, he makes like $1,175 a day. But he earns that and probably should get paid a little more for what he does. So,
well, keep in mind, I actually know a couple of oil workers, right? And they don't. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
and it's just funny to me how hard that is really to do. Like micro.
Yeah.
I love Dirty Jobs and his continual efforts here to like bring up the trades and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason. I mean, he'll even say it. Look, look, you want to tackle this as a female, go right ahead. But there's some of these jobs where they're physically so limiting, probably ain't going to happen. I can tell you right now that even like if someone were to try to lift up the stuff I was doing, there's not a lot of females that are going to do that.
Yeah.
They're talking, big rounds that are like this, cut from a hardwood tree. Those aren't light.
Yeah.
You're moving them around by hand.
That ain't light work.
No. I do want to say this. I want to bring this up. So I was reading the Jordan Peterson, one of his things. What was it? The Gender Scandal Part 1 and Part 2, which he talked about Scandinavia, right? Mm-hmm. This is back in 2018 after that whole Carrie Newman, is that what their name was? Something like that, where he on BBC, where they had this debate about it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but he talked about how in Scandinavia, they've actually done more than a lot of other places to kind of try to do this. And the differences between the genders have actually increased rather than grow similar. That was one outcome that has been not just him. We're talking about that's also been noted by many, right? So,
well, and I think at the end of the day, we just need to call it what it is. If you want to be uber successful, then that's what you're going to focus on. If you want a family, that's what you're going to focus on. So stop wanting something and focusing on what you don't have, and start focusing on the thing that you really desire. Right.
But what's I think what's wrong right now though is that you're having these mandates and you're having these corporate policies that say we want 50% to be women. We want this. So you're not treating anybody fairly at that point.
No, you're not.
You're getting special treatment if you are a certain thing.
Yeah.
Well, you totally negated the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's no longer about fairness. It's about preferential treatment towards one or the other.
You've screwed it up.
Right. That's the problem this has caused.
Yeah.
Trudeau came in and said he wanted 50% of his whatever to be women, right? Well, at his level in the government, are there even 50% that's available that are women? I mean, You are talking about hyper focused type
Yeah,
of
but
people.
we also, I honestly, I think Trudeau's a madman.
Well,
he's like, there's a level of insanity
Yeah.
to what he does. But anyway.
So anyway, that's the whole scope of this. Like when you see the Danish football team bowing down to this culture of idiocracy, then that encourages others to follow suit, which thereby causes more unfairness to exist. You're instead of allowing for real unfiltered competition between two individuals for a job, you've now put mandates in place so one of them gets preferential. This is what affirmative action, all that stuff, where I was staunchly like against from the get-go, because why they don't need it. Like it's not about, they're not inferior in any way. They come up here, it drives me nuts, man. And look, you can say, oh, that's because you're a privileged white dude, blah blah blah. Bro, I've been around. I didn't have everything all at once. I don't want to hear it.
I need somebody. All right, anybody out there in R&B talks, watching land? I hear all the time about white privilege. I need to know where mine's at. I have worked all my life. I started working when I was 13 years old. Where's my white privilege?
Okay, and the example I get all the time is, well, when you won't, did they pull? Do you get pulled over a lot and all this kind of stuff?
I've been pulled over several times.
Well, the answer is, I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
They don't see white guy who's privileged when they pull me over.
Yeah.
They see a very large man who looks like he's pissed off. They got their gun drawn. They're talking to me out the other window. I'm getting the same treatment that anybody else does. Trust me. That's what I tell everybody that.
My tickets are still due. I still get to go to jail if I don't pay them. I don't get away with anything. I'm trying to figure out. And I had somebody say it's so. I have so much fun talking to certain people. I really do. One guy was trying to explain to me that it was okay. So this is the term you use, and maybe you can explain it. It's the white mythos that gets you your privilege.
Yeah,
and I don't know exactly.
Yeah,
I tried not to laugh, but I started laughing out loud when he said that because I had no idea. I was like, so I got ghosts? What are you talking about, man? What is the white mythos that gets me privilege?
I'm not saying that people have not been treated poorly.
Not at all.
And that's not what the point is. But we're in America, we are from so many different places. There's an ancestor of everybody's that has been a slave or hurt some way or another or.
But here's my thing.
Everybody has.
Again. I don't care if you're
Doesn't
white,
matter.
Hispanic, black. If you're done wrong, then you're a person that got done wrong. You're not a black person that got done wrong, or a Hispanic person that got done wrong, or an Asian person that got done wrong. You're just a dude that got done wrong, or a chick that got done wrong. And I'm so sorry for that happening to you. That sucks. If you were done wrong and there was an injustice done to you, man, that's terrible. And I'm sorry for that. But I don't, this sounds so insensitive, but I don't care what color you are. You're just a person to me that got done dirty. And that sucks for you. And if I can help you, if I see an injustice happen to you and there's a way I can help you, absolutely, I'll try to help you. I don't care who you are. If you're good to me and you're good to my family and you don't bring drama to my front door and you are a person of merit, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. I don't care. I don't care. As a matter of fact, I can't care less about what color you are, what your heritage is, what your background is.
Yeah.
I have people that I know that come from awful backgrounds that are super high quality people that I would trust with my kids in my last dime. It doesn't matter. Your character is what I judge. That's it.
Well, dude, it all boils down to like, look, who you are is you choose how that defines you.
Mm-hmm.
You choose how wherever your descendants are from defines you. You can let that be a big part of your life, or you can not.
Yeah.
Is it important for you? Why? Is it? I mean, what's that do for you?
Yeah.
I mean, now look, there's no denying cultural things.
Yeah.
But, there's always been cultural things.
Like I said, we all have different cultural things in history.
Well, you got Polish people live together and they have their own little Polish stuff. You got Italians live together.
Italian.
Come on, man. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, come on. That's just how it works, dude. But look, did systematic or not or whatever, I just especially when it turns like when they talk about the stupid wage gap nonsense, it's a wrong conversation.
Yeah.
And it's always pointed towards this upper echelon level that hardly anybody's going to reach anyway.
Yeah, that 1% of the 1% will actually reach. I mean, think about it. Can you right off the top of your head name 10 billionaires that you're aware of? I can't.
That I'm aware of?
Yeah.
Well, probably, but not
easily. Like you would have to think for a second and go, get past 6 and you're going to have to think, right? So let's take that number. Let's say there's 100 billionaires in the world. Let's say there's 100 people worth $100 billion. Okay. That is still such a small percentage for you to think that you're just going to roll up in there and take it. Doesn't work that way.
Well, look, here, I'll just say this. My doctor's female.
Yeah.
I have a woman doctor. I love her to death.
Yeah.
I didn't sign up and be her because she's not my doctor because of where she came from or what her chromosomes are. It didn't play anything. Somebody said, "Hey, you should try Dr. Glass. She's really cool. It really does me good." I was like, "All right, I'll give her a shot." Didn't care.
My dermatologist is a female. My dentist is.
My dentist is.
My dental hygienist is a female.
Yeah, but both my dentist and my dental hygienist that does work on my teeth. Yeah. Both female. Don't care.
I don't care.
No one
if
does.
You're good at what you do. I don't care.
Yeah, most of this is what I'm saying. Like most people really don't care, and they get this all twisted up with business versus not, and how that all works. And it's just an ignorance of like how, your revenue does affect how much you can pay your people.
Yeah.
And besides all that, when you get outside the sports teams, stop talking about the echelon of this freaking C-suite. Yeah. Get out of there.
Yeah.
No. You're not going to, that is not, you are never going to happen. You are never going to change the grinding wheel of business like that to where the most profitable, the best at what they do does not rise up to the top because that's what makes the most money.
That's what they want to happen.
Yes.
That's what they want to see occur. Right.
Just look, if you have injustice, there's not plenty of other dudes who would, or other females or whatever, who wouldn't stand up with you and follow you. I think if you're having a real injustice problem.
Yeah.
But I'd say if you really want to battle injustice, then get out there and pick up a brick, lay some brick down.
It's like what Jordan Peterson said. Jordan Peterson said, if you've been done wrong, I'll take up my sword and fight with you.
Yeah.
Right. But if you just perceive that you've been done wrong and there's no proof of wrongdoing, then no, I'm not going to take up my sword and fight against the mythos of whatever it is that you think is happening when it really isn't happening. It's just this constant barrage of listening to the wrong people and hearing the wrong things and involving yourself in the wrong things. Here's the deal. If money's what you want, you're going to go find a way to make money. If family, if religion, if whatever it is, you're going to find your way to it.
Look, there are different roles, and men and women are different.
Yes.
Thank God they are.
Absolutely.
I just think quit with the equality stuff. Live in your role.
Be the best version of you.
Whatever that is. If you like doing that, then this and that, then do it. But good grief, leave us alone.
Yeah. Stop hearing about it. Quit crying.
We're R&B Talks.
See ya.
Wait.
What?
Wait.
What are we waiting for? Look, bonus footage.
Wait.
All right, lay it on me, Reg.
Like and subscribe.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second.
Oh, Lord. You're going to get another diatribe about subscribing?
I like the views, right? Those are cool. I like the likes. Those are cool. If you viewed it and you liked it, why aren't you subscribing?
You know how many subscriptions I have though on YouTube, dude?
I have like 500. It's ridiculous.
I know. It's like I'm
but still, I mean, if we're touching a nerve that you like what you're seeing and you're liking it, you just click the.
I get it. Hit the
click it.
Yeah. I mean, it would help us.
You click the other two. Just go on and click the third.
All right, that's it.
All right,
just like and subscribe, comment, and let us know if you want to hear something or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
one of the ones that are watching, you're kind of silent. We welcome your questions. We welcome any feedback. We want to know what you think. We want to know what you're thinking. If you think we're wrong or stupid or ridiculous, hey, put it up. Let's have that conversation. Let's keep it civil. I ain't trying to do no drama.
If you bring drama, it just gets ignored.
If you bring drama, I'm just gonna let Reggie handle it.
Pretty much.
We're R&B Talks. See ya.
Bye-bye.